Welcome to the Facilitators Deep Dive Podcast, your podcast on your way to facilitation mastery.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be looking at something that I think we all kind of secretly wonder about. How do all those apps and services that we use every single day, how do they get us so hooked? The ones that we open almost without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And we've got some really great source material for this deep dive, straight from Nir Eyal's 2014 book, Hooked: How to Build Habit-Forming Products.
And right off the bat, Eyal kind of hits us with this line that I think really rings true for a lot of us.
Yeah.
He says, face it, we're hooked. The technologies we use have turned into compulsions, if not full-fledged addictions.
Yeah, okay, maybe addiction is a little bit strong, but I get what he's saying. I definitely get where he's coming from. And you know what? This isn't just about keeping us entertained. Like,
right.
this is big business.
Oh, yeah.
Creating those user habits, it's a powerful strategy for companies to, well, make money.
It's true. And Eyal really digs into the business reasons behind this. And honestly, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
For starters, it all comes down to something called customer lifetime value.
Okay.
Companies are willing to spend big bucks just to get you in the door because they know if they can keep you engaged, they'll make way more money from you over time.
So it's like playing the long game instead of just like a quick sale?
Exactly.
They're investing in keeping us around for the long haul?
Clever.
And think about it. Once you're hooked on a product, you're way less likely to shop around for alternatives.
Right.
Even if the price goes up, companies know this, and it gives them the power to increase prices without losing you as a customer.
Oh, that's sneaky.
Take Evernote, for example.
Yeah.
They offer a free version,
Yeah.
but people who rely on it daily happily pay for premium features.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But there's got to be more to it than just pricing right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Daily users are also way more likely to spread the word.
Oh, yeah.
And that's free marketing for the company.
Word of mouth.
Exactly. It creates a snowball effect with more and more people getting hooked. It's like a built-in growth engine. So the more hooked users they have, the more new users they get. And the cycle just keeps going. It's brilliant, really.
It is. And then there's the competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Think about it. How likely are you to switch away from something you use every day?
Yeah. No, not very likely.
It's hard to lure customers away from a product that's become a habit. Eyal even uses the QWERTY keyboard as an example.
Oh, interesting.
We all know there are more efficient layouts,
Yeah.
but QWERTY's power comes from sheer habit.
Yeah.
It's what we're used to, so we stick with it.
That's a really good point. Yeah. It's like even if a competitor comes along with a slightly better product,
Right.
breaking those ingrained habits can be a real uphill battle.
Absolutely.
So companies are basically setting themselves up for long-term success by creating these loyal, habitual users.
Exactly. They're playing the long game and they're playing it smart.
So companies want to hook us.
Yeah.
And they've got some pretty good reasons for doing so.
Right.
But how do they actually do it? That's where things get really interesting. Eyal's hook model breaks down the psychology behind habit formation into a 4-step formula.
Right. And what's fascinating is that this model isn't about some evil scheme to manipulate people.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how products solve problems and how they fit into our lives.
Okay, so let's break down this hook model step by step.
Okay.
Where does it all begin?
It all starts with the trigger.
The trigger. Okay, so tell me more about that.
Well, think about what gets you to open an app in the first place.
Okay.
It could be something as simple as an Instagram notification popping up in your phone.
Right.
That's an external trigger. The app is directly telling you, hey, come back.
Ah, I see. It's like a little nudge to get you back into the app.
Exactly.
But sometimes it's not that direct, right? Like sometimes I find myself opening Instagram when I'm bored or feeling a little lonely. It's almost like I do it without even thinking about it.
Exactly. That's an internal trigger. It's not a direct cue from the app, but rather a feeling or a need that the app is cleverly designed to satisfy.
Interesting.
And this is where it gets tricky for designers.
Yeah.
They have to understand what's really driving your behavior, even if you don't consciously realize it yourself.
So it's not just about building a cool app.
Right.
It's about understanding the psychology of the user. That's fascinating and maybe a little bit scary too.
It definitely makes you think, right? And once you start recognizing these triggers, you realize they're everywhere.
Okay, so the trigger is the first step. What happens next?
That brings us to the second phase, action. This is the simplest behavior you do in anticipation of a reward.
Okay.
It could be clicking on that notification, scrolling through a feed, or hitting play on a video.
And I bet the key here is making that action as easy as possible, right?
You got it. The Cecil brings up Fogg's behavior model,
Right.
which basically says you're more likely to do something if it's easy and you're motivated.
Right. Okay.
So designers focus on making those actions incredibly simple to get you hooked. It's all about reducing friction.
It's like the easier it is to do something, the more likely you are to actually do it. Exactly. It's like that one-click buy button, or how easy it is to just keep scrolling on Instagram or TikTok. I never even have to think about it. I just do it.
You're exactly right. It's all about streamlining the path to that reward.
Yeah.
And minimizing the effort required. And that, my friend, leads us to the third phase, the variable reward.
Okay, I have a feeling this is where our brains really get hooked. Tell me more.
You're right on the money with that one. This is where things get really juicy. Our brains are wired to crave the unpredictable.
Yeah.
And variable rewards tap right into that.
So it's like the element of surprise. Not knowing exactly what we're going to get keeps us coming back for more.
Precisely. And that anticipation, that possibility of a pleasant surprise, actually creates a bigger dopamine rush than the reward itself.
Yeah.
It's like the thrill of opening a present, you know?
Oh, totally. It's the not knowing what's inside that makes it exciting.
Right.
But how do companies actually build that kind of anticipation into their products?
Edel breaks variable rewards down into three main types: the tribe, the hunt, and the self. Let's start with the tribe.
Okay.
These are the rewards that tap into our deep-seated need for social connection and belonging.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What would be an example of that?
Think about the feeling you get when you get a bunch of likes on your latest Instagram post, or when you earn a badge in an online game.
Right.
That's the tribe reward in action. It's all about social validation, connecting with others.
Yeah.
And even a little bit of competition.
So it's playing on our need to feel accepted and appreciated by others.
Right.
It's like we're hardwired to seek that kind of social feedback.
Exactly. Now let's move on to the hunt.
Okay.
These rewards are all about the thrill of the chase.
Yeah.
The satisfaction of searching for and finding something valuable.
Oh, this sounds interesting. What are some real-world examples of that?
Think about scrolling through your Twitter feed.
Okay.
Or searching for the perfect item on eBay. You never know exactly what you're going to find, and that unpredictability keeps you hooked. It's also what makes slot machines so addictive, that chance of hitting the jackpot.
That makes total sense, yeah. It's the possibility of finding something amazing, whether it's a piece of news, a great deal, or even just a funny meme.
Right.
That keeps us coming back for more. We're driven by the anticipation of uncovering something new and exciting.
Right. And finally, we have the rewards of the self.
Okay.
These are the rewards that come from mastering a skill, achieving a goal, or simply experiencing a sense of personal satisfaction.
Okay, so these rewards are more about intrinsic motivation, right? It's not about external validation. It's about feeling good about ourselves.
Think about the feeling you get when you finally beat that tough level in a video game.
Yeah.
Or when you reach inbox 0.
Oh, yeah.
It's a sense of accomplishment and self-mastery.
I totally get that. There's a real sense of satisfaction that comes from achieving something challenging.
Yeah.
It makes you want to keep pushing yourself further.
It's powerful stuff. And to really drive home the importance of understanding your users and choosing the right reward, Alal talks about Mahalo versus Quora. Remember those?
Refresh my memory.
So Mahalo was this Q&A site that tried to incentivize participation by offering money for the best answers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sounds good in theory, right?
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love getting paid? It seems like that would be a pretty strong motivator.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But it completely flopped.
Wow.
Quora, on the other hand, focused on social rewards, like recognition from your peers and building a reputation as a thought leader. And guess what?
What happened?
Quora took off like a rocket.
Wow. So even though money can be a powerful motivator,
Right.
it wasn't the right fit for that particular situation.
Exactly. It highlights how important it is for designers to really understand their users' motivations.
Okay.
The rewards need to align with what people genuinely care about.
So it's not just about throwing any old reward at people.
Oh, yeah.
It's about carefully crafting a system that taps into their deeper desires and motivations.
You're getting it. And it's also about respecting the user's autonomy.
Yeah.
You don't want to come across as manipulative or coercive. You want people to feel like they're choosing to engage with your product, not being forced into it.
That makes total sense. You want users to feel empowered, not manipulated.
Right. And speaking of feeling empowered, that brings us to the final phase of the hook model, investment.
Okay, I'm really curious about this one.
Yeah.
how does investment fit into the whole habit-forming equation?
Think about it this way. Have you ever noticed that the more effort you put into something, the more you value it?
Hmm, that's an interesting question.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I do. Like, if I've spent a lot of time creating a playlist on Spotify,
Right?
I'm way more likely to listen to it than some random playlist someone else made.
That's a perfect example. There's a psychological principle called the escalation of commitment.
Okay.
Basically, we're wired to be consistent with our past behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we invest in something, time, effort, energy,
Yeah.
the more committed we become. Yeah.
I see. It's like we're justifying our investment by continuing to engage with the product.
Exactly. And it works on so many levels.
Okay, break it down for me. What are some of the ways we invest in these products?
Well, there's the obvious one, data.
Okay.
The more information you put into a platform,
Yeah.
like your Spotify playlists, your Amazon purchase history, or your Facebook profile, the more valuable that platform becomes to you.
So we're essentially creating a personalized experience by feeding the algorithm with our data.
Exactly. And then there's content creation.
Okay.
Think about YouTube, Instagram, or even just posting comments on a forum.
Yeah.
The more content you create, the more invested you become in that platform.
Because you're building a presence there, contributing to the community.
Right. And then there's the social capital. You build up your followers, your reputation, your connections.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how much effort people put into building their following on Twitter or Instagram. It's a huge investment.
It's like we're building a little empire within these platforms.
Exactly.
Mm.
And all of these investments in their own way make it harder for us to switch to a competitor.
Yeah.
We've put in the time, the effort, the energy.
Yeah.
Why start all over again somewhere else?
So it's like we're creating this self-reinforcing cycle where our investments make us more likely to stay engaged,
Right.
which leads to more investments and so on. It's actually pretty brilliant when you think about it.
It is. But there's one more crucial piece to this investment phase: loading the next trigger.
Loading the next trigger. Okay, what does that mean?
Well, it's the idea that the investments we make often set the stage for future engagement. For
Okay.
example, scheduling a task in a to-do list app basically guarantees you'll open that app again
Right.
when the reminder pops up.
Yeah.
Or think about swiping right on Tinder. You're loading the trigger for a potential match notification, which brings you right back into the app.
So it's like each action we take is setting us up for the next interaction. It's this seamless flow that keeps the hook model spinning.
Exactly. And to see how all of this plays out in the real world, Yael dives into a really interesting case study. The Bible app. You probably know it. It's called YouVersion.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely heard of that one. I think a lot of people use it.
Over 100 million downloads, actually. And it's a great example of how the hook model can be used to encourage daily engagement.
Okay, so walk me through this. How does the Bible app hook users?
Well, it starts with those triggers we were talking about. The app sends well-timed notifications to remind you to engage with your reading plan, and it also encourages you to connect with friends and share your progress.
So it's tapping into that social aspect, the tribe reward. Having that support and encouragement from friends probably makes a big difference.
It definitely does. And then there's the action phase. The app is designed to be super easy to use. You can quickly access your daily readings, navigate the text, even listen to audio versions if you prefer.
That's smart. It removes any friction that might prevent someone from engaging with the Bible regularly.
Exactly. And then there are those variable rewards. Every time you complete a day's reading, you get a sense of accomplishment and you add to your streak, which you're obviously motivated to keep going. You can also share verses or participate in discussions, which taps into those tribe rewards again.
It's like they've combined the rewards of the self with the rewards of the tribe clever.
Right. And finally, there's the investment phase. Users invest by tracking their progress, highlighting verses, and engaging in those discussions. Not only does this deepen their connection with the app, but it also loads the next trigger, prompting them to come back for more.
I'm starting to see how powerful this hook model can be. It's fascinating to think about how these seemingly simple design choices can have such a big impact on user behavior.
It really is. And while the Bible app might seem like a pretty straightforward example, it illustrates how these principles can be applied to promote all sorts of habits, both positive and, well, maybe not so positive.
So what does this all mean for us as users? We've explored the business reasons behind habit formation. We've broken down the hook model step by step, and we've even seen how it plays out in a real-world example. Now, how do we make sense of all this?
I think the key takeaway here is that these habit-forming products are all around us, and understanding how they work can empower us to make more conscious choices about how we interact with technology.
It's like once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it, right?
Exactly. We need to start asking ourselves some critical questions. Is this app truly serving me, or am I serving it? Is it helping me achieve my goals, or is it just sucking up my time and attention?
Those are great questions. And I think it's important to remember that these products aren't inherently good or bad. It's all about how we use them.
Exactly.
Hmm.
We have the power to decide which habits we want to cultivate and which ones we want to break. And understanding the hook model gives us the tools to do just that.
So to wrap things up, here's a little challenge for you, dear listener. Think about an app or service you use almost every day. Maybe it's Instagram, TikTok, or even your email. Now see if you can identify the 4 phases of the hook model at play. What triggers you to open that app? What action do you take? What reward are you chasing? And what investments are you making that keep you coming back?
By taking the time to deconstruct these products, we can become more conscious users, making sure that technology enhances our lives rather than dictating them.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of habit-forming products. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit eye-opening. Until next time, keep thinking critically, keep questioning, and keep exploring.
It's kind of like setting up dominoes. You tip over the first one and the rest just fall into place.
Okay, so it's all very cleverly interconnected. Each step is setting us up for the next.
Right. And to really see how all this works in real life, Alal uses a really interesting case study, the Bible app.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I think it's called YouVersion.
Yeah. That's it.
I think a lot of people use that one.
Over 100 million downloads, actually. It's a great example of how this hook model can be used to encourage daily engagement.
Okay, so walk me through this. How does the Bible app hook users?
Well, it starts with those triggers that we were talking about.
Yeah.
The app sends you these well-timed notifications to remind you to do your reading.
Right?
And it also kind of encourages you to connect with friends and share your progress.
Oh, so it's tapping into that social aspect, the tribe reward.
Yeah.
Having that support and encouragement from friends probably makes a big difference.
Oh, definitely. Then there's the action phase.
Okay.
The app is designed to be super easy to use.
Okay.
You can quickly get to your daily readings, navigate the text, even listen to audio versions if you prefer.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
It removes any friction that might prevent someone from engaging with the Bible, regularly.
Yes. And then there are the variable rewards.
Okay.
Every time you finish a day's reading, you get that sense of accomplishment you add to your streak, which you're obviously motivated to keep going.
Yeah.
And you could also share verses with people or participate in discussions.
Right.
And that taps into those tribe rewards again.
It's like they combine the rewards of the self with the rewards of the tribe.
Yeah.
That's clever.
Right. And then finally, you have the investment phase.
Okay.
Users invest by tracking their progress, highlighting versus engaging in discussions. And not only does this kind of deepen their connection with the app,
Yeah.
it also loads the next trigger, prompting them to come back for more.
I'm starting to see how powerful this hook model can be. It's fascinating to think about how these seemingly simple design choices can have such a big impact on our behavior.
It really is. And while the Bible app might seem like a pretty straightforward example, it shows how these principles can be applied to promote all sorts of habits, both positive and, well, maybe not so positive.
So what does all of this mean for us? We've explored the business reasons behind habit formation. We've broken down this whole hook model.
Right.
And we've even seen it in action.
Yeah.
Now, how do we make sense of all of this?
I think the key takeaway here is that these habit-forming products are all around us.
Yeah.
And understanding how they work can help us make more conscious choices about how we use technology.
It's like once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it.
Exactly. Like we need to start asking ourselves some hard questions. Is this app really serving me, or am I serving it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is it helping me reach my goals, or is it just taking up my time and attention?
These are great questions. I think it's important to remember that these products aren't inherently good or bad.
Right.
It's really all about how we use them.
Exactly.
Right.
We have the power to decide which habits we want to cultivate and which ones we want to break.
Yeah.
And understanding the hook model gives us the tools to do just that.
So to wrap things up, here's a challenge for all of you listening. Think about an app or a service you use almost every day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Instagram or TikTok or even just your email. Now see if you can identify the 4 phases of the hook model at play.
Right.
What triggers you to open that app? What do you do when you're in it?
What's the reward you're looking for? And what keeps you coming back? What investments are you making?
By taking the time to kind of deconstruct these products, we can become more conscious users, making sure that technology enhances our lives instead of controlling them.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of habit-forming products. We hope you learned something new, and until next time, keep thinking critically, keep questioning, and keep exploring. See you next time on the Facilitators Deep Dive Podcast, your podcast on your way to facilitation mastery. Until next time.
See you then.